about the way you stare into my eyes. I know that I don't make things clear.
Welcome back. It's your girl Deidre Renee with the back-to-back videos, and I'm here to give a recap on the Iowa versus Uconn game, the Paige Bueckers versus Caitlin Clark game. So first things first, we're going to start with the beginning of the game. At the beginning of the game, in my opinion, it looked like Iowa had shot all their threes on LSU and made all their threes on LSU because they was not hitting nothing. But that just wasn't a testament to Iowa just missing threes. Also a testament to UConn's defense, which their defense was very pivotal in the win against USC. They was able to lock down Juju and shut her down. So throughout the first two quarters, UConn was doing what they needed to do. Shout out to Nika Mule, point guard for UConn. She played great defense. Shout out to her. When they need her to guard somebody, she does her job and her due diligence to guard that person to the best of her abilities. The way she was guarding Caitlin Clark, it made me feel like, dang, maybe she needs to be Defensive Player of the Year because she was just that good. I mean, sometimes it's difficult for guards to get the Defensive Player of the Year because really people look at blocks or steals or that type of thing. But she was doing no other than doing her job, sticking to her person, meeting Caitlin Clark wherever she was at. Wherever Caitlin Clark was at, Nika Mule was at. She was on her like white on rice, literally. Have you ever heard that phrase? She was literally on her like white on rice. So yeah, then throughout that game, she was doing what she needed to do. But eventually over time, Iowa made their run. The first two quarters of the game before the halftime, Iowa wasn't able to run and push the ball like how they was against LSU. Iowa started the game versus LSU quick, and they were to push the ball up the court and be able to get that ball down the court as quickly as possible, and they were getting easy layups, easy baskets. Versus UConn, the first two quarters of the game, they were not able to do that. UConn shut that down. So halftime comes, third quarter comes, Iowa but they go on they run. As of course as you expect Iowa to do. They got Caitlin Clark, so of course they're eventually going to go on a run. Whether it's Caitlin Clark passing the ball ahead, assisting her teammates, or whether it's hitting her threes, which she was not necessarily, she was hitting threes, but they really did a good job of defending Caitlin Clark. Like, they did a really, really, really good job of defending Caitlin Clark. I gotta say that again because you gotta give UConn their credit. And even at the end of the game, it came down to defense, but we getting there. Third quarter, kind of get to it. They're kind of neck and neck. Fourth quarter, Iowa more starts to go on their run more and more. Then Paige kind of comes back, swinging a little bit more and more. So let's get to the nitty gritty. This call that was made. So ultimately, Iowa was being very careless with the basketball and had all these people in the same area. And if you know UConn's defense, they're very handsy. Their hands are out at all times. That what makes them great players. So with that being said, they get in a position. Aaliyah Boston gets her hands on the ball. Boom, tap. Nika Mule kicks it out, comes back around to catch the ball for her to be able to knock down a shot. Boom. Down by 1 point. Crazy. So, it's Iowa's ball. Boom. Iowa turns the ball over. Paige gets the ball. They pass it. Paige gets the ball. Calls a timeout. Ultimately, since she didn't pass half court, from my understanding, they had to have the ball in the back court since they passed, call a timeout. So then, after that, UConn sets up their play. They run the play. Aaliyah Boston screens. Her arm or elbow may have been out a little bit. But ultimately, in my opinion, this is my opinion, I feel like you don't call that. Like, I don't know. I didn't feel like she was far enough out a little bit, but it wasn't nothing that was like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe the referee seen something I didn't see. I'm watching from TV standpoint. I'm seeing it on TV, and it's like, I wouldn't have called that. But maybe that's why I'm not the referee. That's not my job. I just feel like that's crazy to call at the end of the game. So, boom. After that, head the other way. They foul Caitlin Clark. Caitlin shoots. Makes the first one. Misses the second one, which I think she missed the second one on purpose, which that was smart on her part. Caitlin is a very high IQ player, so I'm for sure she missed it on purpose. So the clock could just run out and the game could be over, because ultimately, if she hit both of those shots, Uconn technically does still have a chance to be able to come down and knock down the three. But at the end of the day, Iowa came away with the dub, so we're going to get that South Carolina versus Iowa game on Sunday. And it's going to be an exciting game to see. Shouts out to Uconn. They did what they needed to do. A lot of people didn't believe Uconn could go as far as they did. They proved the people wrong throughout all their injuries and just trials and tribulations they had to experience throughout their season. They made it to the Final Four. So tip your hat to Uconn. They did their thing. They did what they needed to do. Shouts out to them. But now let's talk about this Iowa versus South Carolina matchup. So first, if you're on the sports Twitter world, y'all know Twitter be going crazy, and this is about to go crazy because literally Iowa versus South Carolina, which they matched up in the Final Four last year, where you got the infamous Caitlin Clark waves off Raven Johnson. So with this being happening, this is Raven's last stop of her revenge tour. Raven, she announced she was on her revenge tour. She's on her revenge tour. She said, I'm on my revenge tour. She's been getting her revenge. They are undefeated in the season. So every thing y'all said she couldn't do, she said she on her revenge tour. She's gonna get what she needs to get done. But she has a chance to have that final test, which is versus that game that we seen last year where Caitlin Clark waves her off. The disrespectful wave off that Caitlin Clark gave Raven Johnson that had everybody talking like, no way, she was waving these people off. This is crazy. This is what really started the big controversy. The reason why was the LSU versus Iowa controversy. It really all started in South Carolina versus Iowa Final Four game, which then eventually Iowa played LSU. You know what I'm saying? It all started at this game. So it's going to be exciting to see who wins this game. I'm excited to see who's going to win. I'm excited to see how everybody matches up. Iowa's not going to be able to do what they did last year. However, they're not going to be able to sit in that 2-3 like that. Pow going to come down, knocking down shots. They're not going to be able to just outrun South Carolina either, because South Carolina has depth as well. So everything that they done ran into, Iowa has ran into, they was able to pretty much, I really felt like they was running circles around LSU. Yeah, I feel like ultimately UConn did what they need to do. They just fell short. I feel like that's a testament to depth as well, because they're not able to, they have so many injuries, and they got so many freshmen that haven't been here before, although they don't play like freshmen. Shout out to KK. She did her thing. Freshman. She's a freshman that needs to be talked about more. I know we talked a lot about Juju, Hannah, Malaysia, the freshman post player from Iowa, but don't forget KK. KK did her thing this year. Shout out to her. Made it to the Final Four her freshman year as the freshman point guard, kind of a little bit. Yeah. Everybody on UConn just push the ball and go. But shout out to her. Tip your cap to her. She did a great job as a freshman. She wasn't talked about as much her freshman year, but she's most definitely a lockdown defender and someone to be reckoned with in the future. So, tip your cap to that. But back to Iowa versus South Carolina. I want to see how this goes, because Iowa's not going to be able to sit in the paint like they did before. You ain't going to be able to wave off Raven Johnson like that. You ain't gonna be able to just face guard Zaya Cook like you did last year. Zaya Cook's not there. it's multiple shooters on the floor. You ain't gonna be able to just close out on a person because you got Tessa. You close out on her too tight. She driving by you to get to the rim. I feel like this South Carolina team is the best team that they've ever had, just based off of they can kill you in so many different places. They can kill you in the post. They can kill you the 3-point line. If you come out, close out too high, they can drive by you. They can put the ball on the floor. They play defensively. They scramble well defensively. They get to the places they need. And the pivotal point of the game is going to be that third quarter, because that's where South Carolina gets people. Like I said in my other video, the only time that they were not able to necessarily get that person, even though they ended up winning in the end, was that game versus Tennessee. So, this is the last stop for Raven's revenge tour. Will she get her ultimate revenge? Because this is crazy. And you also got Camila Cardoza. And I don't know if that freshman, I'm calling her that freshman, I don't know if Iowa's post player is going to be able to keep up and do what she needs to do against Camila Cardoza. And I also don't think that Iowa, in my opinion, I don't think that Iowa is going to be able to just outrun South Carolina, because South Carolina has depth. Now, the post player was not really, Angel was really doing Angel stuff until she really hurt her ankle, but they were able to outrun LSU in sort of a kind of way, because Haley Van Lith is slower than Caitlin Clark. I feel like Raven's length is going to bother Caitlin Clark, and Raven, like I said, has lost 30 pounds, so she's going to be able to keep up with that speed. So I'm just excited to see who wins this South Carolina versus Iowa game. And of course, I'm going to be back with another video to give y'all updates after the game on what happened, and to let y'all know who's finna go into the WNBA draft. If you don't know, the WNBA draft is April 15th, 7 p.m. Eastern, and it's in New York. I know y'all been seeing all that madness in New York. It's earthquakes and everything's going on. Hope y'all staying safe out there. But yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe. I will be back with more basketball content all 2024. The content is coming with updates. Soon we'll be transferring over to the WNBA and different types of sports content, things to talk about. And I'm also going to be posting just different type of content in general and be pushing things out. I need to get back in the algorithm because I believe I've been kicked out because I was not posting. But that's on me. But yeah, please, once again, like, comment, subscribe. I will be back with more content for you. I'm out.
It's not that I don't want you here. It's something about the way